The Solomon Islands are a picture-perfect nation in the South Pacific and a fantastic example of maritime navigational features. You have a series of islands and reefs with capes and points separated by channels, straits, passages and sounds. I originally thought all these terms could be used interchangeably, but turns out there are actually specific use cases for each one, and this particular area has examples of them all. A strait is a narrow passage that connects two large bodies of water, typically characterised by strong currents, shallow depths and narrow widths. In this area, we have the Indispensable Strait running through here, joining the Solomon Sea in the south to the South Pacific Ocean in the north. A sound, on the other hand, is a large sea or ocean inlet typically wider than a strait and characterised by calmer water and deeper depths. New Georgia Sound up here is an inlet off the Solomon Sea, and what was called Savo Sound in turn is an inlet off the New Georgia Sound. Out to the east, there are a series of reefs creating a channel leading out to the Indispensable Strait. Now, you may have noticed that I said this was called the Savo Sound because it actually changed its name during the Second World War. As it was the scene of such devastation, it is now known as Iron Bottom Sound. In May 1942, the area was occupied by Japanese forces who had momentum in conquering this part of the Pacific. The Imperial Japanese Navy powered the offensive out of their base in Rabaul, Papua New Guinea. Everything changed when they were defeated at both the Battle of the Coral Sea and the Battle of Midway. Japan found itself on the back foot with the Allies ready to start their offensive. They set their sights on the area around Savo Sound because Tulagi Island had an ideal harbour for float planes, and to the south on Guadalcanal, the Japanese were busy constructing an airfield which would be able to threaten supply lines between the west coast of the USA and the east coast of Australia. On the 7th of August 1942, Allied forces simultaneously attacked Tulagi Island at the north of the Sound to secure the harbour, as well as the area around Lungar Point on the northern coast of Guadalcanal. The surprise attack caught the defenders off guard, so the landing force quickly took the area around Lungar Point and the partially constructed airfield. Just 2 days later, in response to the invasion, the first naval engagement took place at the Battle of Savo Island. The Japanese came with 5 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers and a destroyer, against the Allies with 6 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers and 15 destroyers. By the end of the battle, the Japanese had suffered damage to 2 heavy cruisers and a light cruiser, while the Allies had lost 4 heavy cruisers with an additional heavy cruiser and 2 destroyers damaged. Of course, if you'd like a detailed battle report, I'll leave some links down below to some great videos by the Operations Room. The Battle of Savo Island was a decisive Japanese victory, however, it didn't stop the Allies from continuing to construct the new airfield on Guadalcanal, so just 3 days later, it was complete and opened as Henderson Field. The next major naval engagement came on the 11th till the 12th of October 1942, when the Japanese sent a force to bombard the airfield. They were significantly better at nighttime engagements, so were caught somewhat off guard when they came across a US force off Cape Esperance. The main Japanese force had 3 heavy cruisers and 2 destroyers, but it was reinforced by another 6 destroyers and 2 seaplane tenders, while the US had 2 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers and 5 destroyers. The element of surprise resulted in a US victory, with Japan losing 4 ships compared to the US only losing 1. As you can see, the strategic importance of the airfield on Guadalcanal was quickly leading to a build-up of shipwrecks in the area. A month after the Battle of Cape Esperance, the biggest naval battle of the campaign began, the Naval Battle of Guadalcanal. It was actually a couple of engagements lasting from the 13th till the 15th of November 1942. Over the 3 days, the US fleet consisted of a fleet carrier, 2 battleships, 2 heavy cruisers, 3 light cruisers and 12 destroyers, while the US had a carrier, 2 battleships, 6 heavy cruisers, 4 light cruisers, 22 destroyers and 11 transports. By the end of the battle, the US had lost 2 light cruisers and 7 destroyers, compared to the Japanese losing 2 battleships, a heavy cruiser, 3 destroyers and 11 transports. The Naval Battle of Guadalcanal was the final normal naval engagement because between the 14th of January and the 7th of February 1943, the Japanese undertook Operation K, their withdrawal from Guadalcanal. Over the 3.5-week operation, the Japanese lost another destroyer and submarine, and the US lost a further heavy cruiser, destroyer, and 3 patrol torpedo boats. Although the main naval fighting was now over, the campaign continued to rumble on in the air. Between the 1st and the 16th of April, the Japanese undertook Operation Igo, consisting of aerial attacks against Allied shipping. This resulted in the sinking of yet more American vessels, a destroyer, a tanker, a corvette, and 2 transports. Over the course of the year-long campaign, dozens of ships from both sides went down, creating the highest concentration of World War II shipwrecks anywhere in the world, not to mention the downing and wrecking of hundreds of planes as well. The immense loss of life and vessels is now immortalised in the name of the sound itself, Iron Bottom Sound. It started as a nickname from Allied sailors, but today you'll find the same name on maps and nautical charts of the area.